So anyways, guys, I don't know if you guys been on the internet, but this week, a teaser image of the next Subaru BRZ was released. And there was a message saying that the new car will be coming out this fall. And we hear it's like November, like next month. Originally, we anticipated the release of this car in spring of next year, but evidently they moved the timetable up. So the teaser image, I don't know, James, do you have it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see here is the front wheel and a small portion of the fender. But someone was actually naughty and snapped a photo during the 2020 Subiefest World Record Attempt and Charity Drive. And they put it, I think it's on social media or something, but we have we have that photo behind the veil. But this is enough to tell us that the information collected by our otaku spies before when we covered the car is pretty legit. So what we know is this 2021 or 2022 Subaru BRZ will be built on an updated version of the current platform. So, you know, the same Toyota 86 BRZ platform. But this platform will be lighter and it'll have a lower center of gravity and it'll also be more rigid. So the handling is going to be noticeably improved from the current car. The wheelbase stays the same as the current car, but the suspension setups up front, which are struts, and the double wishbones at rear will stay intact. And the cars, as you can see from that little spy shot that guy took, the car's oversize is going to be about the same too. What we know for sure is the rear is going to look completely different than the current model. As you can see, you know, from these spy shots too, and the rendering from Best Car that we got, the taillights are going to be totally redesigned, and the rear deck will have a small ducktail shape, so it doesn't have that right now. And also the BRZ at least, and we don't know about the Toyota 86 version, but the BRZ will at least be one of the safest cars in the segment because Subaru's going to install their eyesight safety technology, you know, which has all that stuff from lane keeping and you know, all the crash avoidance, all that kind of stuff. The big news on the engine is it's not going to be the 2-liter FA20 flat 4 anymore. It's going to be the 2.4 liter, which they call FA24. So it's pretty much the same engine, just you know, larger displacement. And although we heard and we were hoping that there was going to be a forced induction version, you know, whether it's supercharger or turbocharger, there's no turbos for this next car. It's going to be naturally aspirated. But power is going to go up 10% to 220 horsepower or 220 PS, or, you know, whatever you use. And torque is going to go up to 177 pound-feet. And that's a bump from the current car's 151 pound-feet of torque. And these are for the 6-speed manual model. I don't know what we haven't heard what the numbers are going to be for the automatic transmission model. But because the torque is going to be increased, our otakus are telling us that the car's red line is going to go down from 6,400 RPM to 5,500 RPM. So that means the torque band is going to be more concentrated in the low to mid range, which means it should have better acceleration or a better acceleration feel, and hopefully better 0 to 60. Well, it will have better 0 to 60 acceleration times because it's got more power, more torque, and the car we haven't heard if it's going to be heavier. It'll probably be at the same ballpark when it comes to curb weight. So anyways, this is what the BRZ is shaping up. We don't have that much longer to wait until it comes up. You can see the big grille in front. So, and the headlights, it's hard to make out with this wonderful camouflage paint, whatever, decal or whatever it is, but the front isn't going to change that much. And if you guys, I think we all like the front of how the car looks right now. It's still going to be a pretty attractive car. And I personally like the new rear end. James, can I get a shot of that rear? There's the naughty, that's the naughty picture that someone snapped with the veil in it. Yeah, there it is. So that's how the rear is going to look with instead of the taillights now. So any thoughts, James, Taro, even Fredric?
I'll go first. I mean, I think I mean, it's everyone. We've always said we've all driven the car, right? And we always thought it needed about 10-15% more horsepower. This gives it that 10. That gives it that 10-15% that everyone's looking for.
Yep.
I mean, I think it's a winner. I mean, it still looks, the car looked good already. It still is going to look good now, but maybe this helps it. The rear tail lights help differentiate a little more than its current. Obviously, the Toyota version, the GT or however 86, however you want to call it.
I'm wondering if the Toyota 86 will kind of mimic these tail lights too. I don't know. I hear they're going to look alike. So.
Well, who knows? I mean, we're just going by this as the Subaru. Well, maybe they are going to look alike, and we don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think it's always good. I mean, that's what everyone's been asking for: 10-15% more power, and that's what it's going to give. So it's what we've always said. Now, hopefully, it just delivers on that. And I'm going to guess it's probably not going to. It's probably going to have a small price bump, but still probably stay around that similar price, right?
It's going to be a little more expensive. And the BRZ, I think, has been traditionally a little more expensive than the 86 anyways, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Just a margin, like $1,000 more maybe at the sticker price. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a great idea.
So you like it? You're looking forward to it?
Yeah, definitely.
Carl?
Yeah, I'm definitely thumbs up for me. I mean, this, you know how I enjoy driving the GT, actually even more than the Supra, probably because there's a manual transmission available in this model. It's a light, you know, it's a
fun car, right?
It's a very fun, nimble car, light car.
It was faster. It was faster, but yeah.
Yeah, but I thought it was, you know, perfect to just, you know, take it around the track and fly around in it. I didn't feel like it needed any power. It was really fun, especially on a small track like Streets of Willow or something like that. I mean, it's totally fine. And if it's added a couple more horsepower, I mean, yeah, that's, you know, hooray. Let's go for it.
I'm very disappointed that there isn't an STI version with turbos. You know, one that's 280 to 300.
That's what we've all been asking for.
I think this chassis can totally handle it. You know, the car's set up. I mean, like you said, I totally agree with James. I totally agree with you that it felt underpowered. But let's get the opinion of the Drift Master because this is a rear drive car, so it's very driftable. But with that torque, I don't know. But anyways, what do you think, Fredric? And give me your take on the 86 now, or the BRZ, sorry, Subaru. And what you think of the new changes for the next car?
I think this looks great, and it looks like the natural evolution, right, of the first generation. And I was and still is a big fan of the first gen 86 and the BRZ. You know, we campaign one in Europe, we campaign one in Japan with the NASCAR motor, and like you said, we didn't run a different
car though. Once you put the NASCAR motor in there, yeah.
Sure, but like you said about the chassis being able to handle more power, they definitely are, because we ran 1,000 horsepower through the factory diff casings, and of course it didn't last forever.
Yeah, of course not. It's gonna.
But they lasted a really long time. So I think when the first gen originally came out, that was a God's gift to all of us that are into more affordable and I want to say sports cars that are built the way sports cars were built back in the days, right? Because they're lightweight. Yeah. You don't have all the fancy extras. It's just back to basics, and it's really cool that they're retaining that for the new generation. And I may or may not know a thing or two about a possible sister car, but I can neither confirm that today. But I'm really excited for this new generation and what's to come. I can say that.
What possible sister car? What are you talking about, Fredric?
Really complicated way of.
Fredric, you're the one who brought this up.
I like that we didn't even probe him, and he was just like, he gave in straight away. He like rolled over and was like,
he offered
scratched my tummy. Yep.
I guess it's bragging. I didn't mean to do it that way, but I have to say I think the added displacement is the right move, because I love the drifting at Factory 86. That we did a lot of demos with those. You know, we even had Akio Toyota out at Toyota headquarters drifting in Factory 1, and just a little more grunt and a little more torque would be perfect, because then you could be ripping third gear instead of second.
But okay, so the new Toyota GT, will also possibly have a little bit more more horsepower.
Well,
We would all like to think.
it's going to be.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's going to be exactly the same, I think. You know, because they're all
Right.
the same engines. They're pretty much the same spec.
Well, they haven't announced anything yet, though. from the
Well,
Toyota
yeah,
side,
that's why.
from
Well,
the Toyota side.
yeah. So, Fredric, you're really not going to be in trouble or say too much. I mean, they are the same kind of car. But do you find that you like the balance of the car?
I personally really do. I really like it. I had one as a street car in LA, and I loved hooning that thing around. And the only thing that I perhaps didn't like when I had friends in town and we were going places and we had to bring luggage, but that's not what that car is for.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great car. It's a great drift chassis. It's small, it's nimble, it's low center of gravity, which is really important. And maybe the next big thing in drifting is to keep the center of gravity low. So really stoked to see these cars still stick around.
I will say that I think that Toyota do, and Scion before them, did a really good job with the car in regards to the special limited editions they do with it and the color schemes they put together. I always thought the colors, I mean, the most recent one, the Hartone in the green, I mean, it looks fantastic. And they always do a real good job of hitting like a real like sweet spot where like that's a really nice piece of paintwork on that car to make it just that little bit special compared to the regular ones you see.
How important do you think is it, Fredric, that they retain the manual gearbox in that thing?
I think it's extremely important because there are, the more we move as a society towards EV and cars that drive themselves and people being detached from the driving experience, the more I think we'll have a counterculture to that with all of us guys and girls that are really into actually driving. So I think just for the sake of keeping us sane, I think it's really important. And we are big ambassadors and perhaps some of the more vocal about what we want. And even if it's a smaller and smaller group of people that will buy manuals, that doesn't mean it's not an important group. So I'm all for it. And the more cars that like this that are available as a manual, I think it's going to be super important for the models to succeed. So
do you miss it in the new Supra?
I
know it might have been difficult because it's a BMW. Everything's a BMW setup, and didn't come with the manual. But
I have to be honest. I do, but at the same time, I miss the clutch pedal more than I miss the actual transmission. Because when we drift, we use the clutch a lot. We actually steer the car with the clutch. So I don't really miss the concept of shifting, but I miss having some kind of clutch pedal to detach the drive. But then, But then again, I'm probably less than 1% of a buyer group, and I'd much rather have a Supra, with automatic than no Supra at all. And there are ways of doing this. But that's maybe one idea for the aftermarket. If someone could figure out a way of tricking these automatic transmissions into some kind of half-slipping clutch mode, I would definitely buy that little pedal.
Little bolt-on kind of a thing.
Bolt-on pedal.
That would be pretty cool. Okay, so I think we all are excited that the BRZ is still around. It's going to get a little bump in power. I think it needed it too. So let's hope it stays around the same price and it comes out. And yeah, it's great to get I'm glad you stuck around for this one, Fredric, because you have a lot of experience with that car, right? So, or the Toyota version, but it's the same car. So.
Yeah, and I'm glad like a Toyota racing, a Toyota ambassador like Fredric is actually going out, saying that the manual transmission is important. It's a small percentage of folks, but I mean, they influence that 1% really influence. I think all the people around them on what cars to purchase. So a manual is definitely important.
Art of heel and toe is it's gonna disappear from the earth. So
it will eventually. It will.
For some of us who could still do it, So
yeah.
All right, but anyways, that was my segment. Thank you guys, and
thanks. Good report.
Yep.